Today, I speak to you as a concerned Ohio resident, taxpayer, and citizen regarding the proposed state-funded study on large-scale data centers. I've had a 25-year career in technology and automation, which has led to the clarity with which I make this testimony today. Ohioans are already at risk, and further delay in enacting protections increases harm. This testimony outlines why the proposed study should be abandoned and why the legislature should instead implement an immediate statewide prohibition on large-scale data center construction and operation until robust legal protections are enacted. While studies can provide some value in many cases, the proposed study is unnecessary, redundant, and a misuse of public resources. Existing research from other states and communities and institutions, including California, Virginia, Texas, Georgia, national studies already demonstrate the environmental, economic, civil, liberty, and AI risks of hyperscale data centers. This issue is not abstract. It's not theoretical. It's not about a future scenario. It's about Ohio families today. It is about the family in a rural township whose water pressure drops because a corporate cooling system draws from the same aquifer. It's about the retiree whose electric bill rises to subsidize industrial energy demand. It's about the parent who learns their daily movements are being tracked, stored, and analyzed without their consent. It's about the small community that loses its farmland, its quiet, its character permanently. You are asking to fund a study, but the impacts of these facilities are already known, documented, and experienced by communities across the country. Ohio does not need a study to tell us what has already happened elsewhere. Ohio needs leadership to protect its people now. Across Ohio, communities are defined by land, water, and local heritage. These are not just resources, they are the foundation of our way of life. Large-scale data centers disrupt the foundation in ways that are already proven. A single facility can consume anywhere from 10 to 100 megawatts of power, equal to tens of thousands of homes. Cooling systems can draw into the upwards of hundreds of thousands, up to 1.7 million gallons of water per day, depending upon the size. This directly affects local aquifers. Constant mechanical noise, heat discharge, and industrial lighting operates 24/7. Facilities occupy 50 to 200 acres, permanently converting rural or suburban land into industrial zones, and are quickly outdated and abandoned when subsidies expire. These are not projections. These are documented realities in other states. The Ohioan who lives next door to one of these sites does not experience infrastructure. They experience it as noise at night, heat in the air, pressure on the water supply, and loss of the land around them. Once built, these impacts are permanent. One large data center can consume hundreds of thousands of gallons of water daily for cooling and electricity, rivaling entire cities, often from fossil-heavy sources. Ohio-specific projections mirror national data. AI-driven growth could deplete aquifers, increase stormwater pollution from vast impervious surfaces, and generate heat noise that harms wildlife and residents. Farmland loss threatens our agricultural economy. These harms compound economic costs, higher utilities, lost tourism, ag revenue, and constitutional injuries, degraded habitability of property. HB 646 explicitly tasks its commission with studying these exact issues: environment, utilities, water, noise, light pollution, local economies, and farmland. HB 650 addresses frontier technologies that will only accelerate data center demand. While these commissions deliberate using taxpayer-supported legislative infrastructure and public employee time, the damage will continue. Every month of inaction is a month of higher bills, lower water tables, and lost farmland, costs squarely borne by Ohio taxpayers. Local moratorium halts this while the state catches up. While we may want to study local impacts, that further underscores the need to immediately halt development, given the lack of knowledge. Ohio families are already facing rising costs. They expect their elected officials to protect them from additional financial burdens, not impose them. Yet large data center developments have recently shown electricity rate increases of 5 to 15% for local residents due to grid demand and grid strain. Minimal long-term employment, often only 50 to 100 permanent jobs. Tax incentives and abatements that outweigh local economic benefits. This means the Ohioan who never sets foot inside of a data center will pay for it through higher utility bills, lost tax revenue, and strain on local infrastructure. This is not economic development for Ohio families. It is a transfer of cost and risk from corporations to citizens. Residents and small businesses will bear the real costs. Electricity demand will spike, equivalent to tens of thousands of households, driving up rates for all ratepayers. Grid upgrades, roads, water systems, and substations are often subsidized locally or pass through higher bills. Nearby property values will drop due to nuisance and eroding the tax base. HB 646 and 650, while not seeking new appropriations, still cost Ohio taxpayers through time spent by elected officials and legislative staff on the public payroll, time not spent on immediate solutions. This legislative delay allows more facilities to break ground, externalizing billions in statewide infrastructure and ratepayer burdens onto families and businesses. A local moratorium lets us negotiate genuine community benefit agreements with enforceable net positive economics before more devastating commitments are made. Ohioans do not give up their constitutional rights when technology evolves. The Fourth Amendment protects the right to be secure in one's persons, papers, and effects. The Supreme Court has repeatedly affirmed this in the digital age through cases such as Katz versus United States, Riley v. California, and Carpenter v. United States. Yet the infrastructure supporting large data centers enables continuous tracking through, for example, license plate readers, surveillance in retail and public spaces, and aggregation of personal biometric and location data. The average Ohioan has never consented to this level of monitoring. The right to travel freely, associate privately, and live without constant surveillance is a core American liberty. Data center expansion without strong legal protections threatens that liberty at scale. Ohio currently lacks comprehensive consumer data protection laws. That means Ohioans' shopping habits, movements, personal identifiers, and biometric data are routinely collected, sold, and analyzed 24/7, often without meaningful consent. Even anonymized data can be re-identified when aggregated at scale. Large data centers expand the capacity for this system exponentially. The Ohio consumer is not a product, but under current conditions, their data is treated as one. The Fifth and 14th Amendments to the U.S. Constitution and Article 1, Section 16 of the Ohio Constitution prohibit depriving any person of life, liberty, or property without due process and protect against takings without just compensation. Residents hold a fundamental right to the quiet enjoyment, habitability, and economic value of their home and land.